Hello, Wendy. It's great to see you, and thank you very much for being here this morning.
Hi, Ford. Good morning.
So I'm going to start, Wendy, by asking you a question. Can you tell me, what do you actually do in Pinnacle HR?
We are a boutique HR and talent consultancy. We work with clients from as far west as San Francisco and to the east. We work with clients in Berlin. We specialize in identifying talent, key talent that deliver, and we help build emotionally intelligent teams and leaders to achieve the growth and their ambitions. On the one side, we absolutely do recruitment, we do executive search. We specialize in working with at C-level, at director, at VP, but we also look to build teams. And that's really important to me. When I look at how do we do that, we build teams through hiring them, but we also build teams through developing them and working with their leaders to develop their teams to deliver what they need to deliver.
Okay. And tell me, I'm curious, how did you actually, and maybe not just how, but how and why did you get into business?
Yeah, so I have led a really successful corporate life in California, moved to Ireland with my husband, and actually I was kind of climbing that ladder and doing what I did, and I was commuting from Dublin to London every week, and it killed me. So I made the choice. For the first time, really, I made a career choice to do something for my family. Okay. For my kids. I've had 4 small kids at the time, for my husband and for me. And I needed to find a better career that gave me an opportunity to do it all. I always dreamt of having the career that did it all. But I felt that working in London and having a family in Dublin and commuting every week, as you'd see the same people on the Aer Lingus flight every Monday morning and coming home at the end of the week. You know, they were your buddies in whatever row they sat in, you always had your same seat. So it just wasn't working. And actually one of my friends, when I was sharing with him that I was thinking of doing this, and he said to me, he said, why wouldn't you? And he said, you will know if you're creating value for your clients, because they will buy your service or not.
Well, that actually segues very nicely into the next question I want to ask you. 2 questions in one, actually.
Okay.
Who is your typical client,
and
what they look like, and what value do you actually create from them in terms of feedback? What do they tell you?
Typical clients, they range from SMEs, they range from PE-backed scale-ups, and they range from listed companies. So it's the full range. And really, I suppose the kind of connecting theme for all of them is they're going through a period of high growth, where things are really quite chaotic. They need to leverage, and this answers your second question, they need to leverage someone that they trust. They need to leverage someone who will work nimbly, who will work with them. And as we are a boutique, HR and talent consultancy, we can do that. So in terms of the value that my team and I create, it's a couple of things. We give them peace of mind. And I suppose what makes it also really successful is we are part of their team. We are part of their leadership team. In fact, I was in Paris meeting one of my clients yesterday, and he said, right, Wendy, I'm delighted that you're part of our C-suite team.
In terms of the assessments that you use, TTIs, assessment, how do you actually use them, and where do they add value in the process for you?
I will always do the job assessment. And I really like that, because it really forces the client to sit down and pause and really reflect in terms of what do they really need, without thinking about who was in the role before, and it makes them objectively look at it. And also the second piece of it is that what I find when I take clients through the process, a lot of them may not be aligned. And so if I really sit with them at the very first bit, and I say, look, this might be a little bit tenuous, if they just sit together and they align, and this focused workshop helps them do that, then I know that when I get to the end, I'm not going to have differences of opinion, because I will have aligned them at the start. The process helps them to align at the start, and then we use that during the final interview process to help them. And as I always say, that the tools are not there to screen people out, but they're there to help provide another layer of a lens to look at the candidates that you're identifying and that you're choosing from, and which one is a better fit. And
Yes.
It's not to say, right, we want to change that person or that individual. It's not that at all. It's more so knowing, what are you buying? What are you getting? And how can this individual work best with my team? So that's what I use it from a kind of my search business. In my coaching business, I use it all the time. Because it helps give me an extra, again, another lens to understand the client better, but also for them, it really lets them to look at it black and white. You know, this is
Yes.
me. And it's 99.9% of the time where my clients say, wow, this is scary at how accurate this is of me.
Yeah.
And so and again, when I share it with my clients, I said, this isn't about changing. This is about understanding, leaning into more of who you are, leaning into your strengths, so that actually then you can leverage that and you can use that to your advantage. You can use that in other team situations to know what value you bring, and recognize the values in others. The framework that I use is a very specific framework around EQ. And it's first of all around self-awareness. A lot of times the clients may not be aware of how they're coming across. It might be a blind spot. They might be ignoring it. So part of the EQ is at first around their self-management or their self-awareness.
Yes, yeah.
And then I work with them and I coach them. And I was doing this last night with a client. I was coaching her around how now you know that triggers you. How can we best self-manage that? And we develop strategies around how she can do that. And then we look at the other side of the house and saying, okay, well, now that you know that this is about you, this is your own baggage, no one else's, we know how to manage it. How does that then impact the way you work with others?
Yeah.
What do they need from you? How do you build relationships better? How do you lead better? Knowing what your baggage is, knowing that you've got to manage it, and how do you authentically show up? So that's what I work on with teams and individuals.
Interesting. And there's one segue naturally for you. So when you get into the recruitment process and selection process and you onboard somebody, does it naturally follow that you work with them this way?
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yes.
Yeah, very good. Very interesting. And last question for you. In terms of your ideal persona, the ideal company for you today, what kind of clients are you looking for?
My ideal client is someone who wants a true partner. From a leadership perspective, there are a couple of things that we do. And during COVID, we did a lot of this in terms of helping clients to restructure their organizations to deliver in the new world. So we did a lot of organizational development. And then as part of that, we ended up doing a lot of coaching and leadership development training. We use the tools to help them understand. We use the wheel in terms of having the teams understand where do they sit as part of that? How do they get the best value from what do they bring, but also what do their team members bring? And helping them coach through that so they understand how do we create and sustain and build high-performing teams.
Well, very interesting. Well, Wendy, thank you very much for speaking to me today. Really, really, really appreciate it. It was fascinating to get your insights. And I wish you the best of luck in your business.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Padraig. Really appreciate your time.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Wendy.
You're welcome.